start it.
All right.
Let's see. We've got 8 folks. I mean, they didn't really have to walk far to get up to class today, so
Yeah, I'm surprised
uh,
that they're late. Like, come on. You're not even coming to a physical space. Anyway.
well, we can go ahead. I mean, I want to make sure that we have enough time for everything you want to cover. So
Yeah, let's just get
it's
started.
it's 2 minutes after. Let's go ahead and get started. Good morning, everybody. Um, I don't know if you know, but there's a hurricane that's headed this way. And there was a good chance like the storms were going to start this morning. And I was like, hey, I'm going to be really smart and people are going to have a really hard time getting in on time if we like have class when there's a thunderstorm outside. If there's a light rain, people are late in the mornings. So like I just thought we should hold class online today. And of course it's perfectly dry outside, but you know. So if you guys, that cat profile picture is very distracting. Um, if you guys don't know, the weather's gonna be pretty bad the next couple of days. It's starting sometime today, and but Thursday and Friday will be wet and rainy and thundery, and windy. Like the winds will be, I don't know, like 30 miles an hour, kind of at the most. So, anyway, just keep an eye out, and just plan accordingly. Keep an eye out on what your classes are planning on doing too. But it's not like it's gonna snow. That shuts the city down. Um, oh, somebody posted in the chat. I don't have the chat open. Hold on a second. Oh, hi,
It was
Aneska's virtual
AI.
assistant.
I
Let's go see AI.
I tried to remove it. It's not doing
Do you, I mean,
I have
do
to
you,
log in to like online and then get it out.
I
So
got it here.
yeah.
I can kick you guys out. So there.
It's just automatically joins a bunch of things. But yeah.
Uh,
Um, and talk about modern problems, right? Like, oh, sorry, my AI joined my teleconference automatically. I'm not sure why. Kind of like that sentence would have happened a few years ago. Um, all right, Manoj, you have a
all right.
brief presentation. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop rambling and let you get going.
All right. So before like we get started, everyone was able to install all the things that I sent out, right? Like everyone has Python, everyone has what do you call is this Visual Studio Code, everyone has GitHub Desktop.
I think I did it all right, but we will see as we
All
go.
right. Awesome. Great.
Is that something
Uh
that folks need to be stepped through? I mean,
no.
okay, all right,
No, I sent out tutorials. No.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, did anybody, I mean, we could check in. Did anybody have any major hiccups with trying to do this? Let silence
I
doesn't. Oh, go ahead.
oh no, I was gonna say I didn't. I've gone through these steps a long time ago, so I'm just hoping I have the right Python version, but we will see.
Did you make sure that you have Python 3.12.6?
I am checking now.
Yes, that was
The
also in the
chances of that are
announcement.
slim if you did this a while ago.
Yeah, just download the latest Python version. Or at least make sure that you have Python greater than like 3.10, like 3.10. Otherwise, most of the codes won't work because they've changed a bunch of stuff. Anyway, uh, here. So I just put together a very, very, very small presentation on like what we will be going through. Okay, before, how many of us are familiar with what a web app is, or like have developed a web app before? Anyone?
I mean, you guys could like just click the raise hand or.
Like
Yeah.
I know what a web app is. I don't think I've developed it before.
All right.
I hand coded a website in HTML in 1997. Does that count?
Yeah, in 1997, that was the web app.
Perfect.
Not anymore though. All right, so I see
Chung
Chengzi has.
Zhe.
Yeah, you're asking like who the web app. So yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I should put my hands down after that.
All right. We have one more also. All right, great. So most of you haven't, so this presentation will be useful. So what we're trying to do is like again build a Flask web app. But before that, like there's two things that we want to like really pay attention to. One is like something called a static website, or the other one is the dynamic website. Static website is the ones in which like the content is fixed and there is no dynamic like rendering of anything that's happening. So I mean, even though we are using like like up until now, what you've done on even P5, if you are not like making API calls as such, you've developed a static website. Well, it is not a static website because there is some sort of interaction, but like just to get the point across, if you have a like text, like if you imagine a blog post, like the text is fixed, there is nothing that changes on the website, that is a static website. But for all our purposes, in this course especially, we are dealing with dynamic website. There is some sort of API calling that happens. There is some interaction that happens. There is some like on the fly like things on the website that happens. And for dynamic websites, the key deal is you need to have a server. Uh, if you guys ever tried to make a API call with your P5.js, like very recently, one of your classmates was trying to do an API call to YouTube to get a YouTube video to play in the background of P5.js sketch, and it wasn't working. Well, the code was right. It wasn't just like working. It was because she was trying to do it without a server, and then we had to switch it to a server, and then it worked. That's the idea. Like for doing any dynamic content, you need to have a server that serves these files uh, and is connected to a bunch of other stuff.
Manoj, Chelsea has her hand up. I'm not sure if that's legacy or.
Oh,
I think that's old. Sorry.
All
oh,
right, just wanted to check in.
all right. Yes. So now, basically, so I got these pics from this like website that you see in the
Oh, I was
at the
hoping you
bottom.
drew these. Dang it.
Nope,
I was about to flip out, man. Okay.
no. Uh, All right. So what really happens when you like go on your laptop and go to a browser and like type the URL? Like that, this is what I'm trying to show in this like diagram. So like a person like goes to the laptop, clicks something, like puts something on the like URL at the top. That sends something called as an HTTP request. So you can think of HTTP as like a protocol that like how people say hello like there is like the in most of the Western world we say hello just like hi hello like this. Hi is usually like this. Hello is like some handshake. uh there is in India we do namaste, which is like a handfold. So these are all like different protocols of just saying hi or something like that, or like even like bending forward and like saying hello in like some other like Asian countries. So like similarly, HTTP is like just like that. It's just saying hi, but in a very specific way. So like when you say hi, you need to like wave your hand, or like when you do namaste, you need to fold your hand. Like that's similarly like HTTP has like certain like protocols that the browser follows when talking to a web server. So it sends this like HTTP request. The request essentially looks like this. Like I like, fold your hand, like it looks like there is a HTTP method attached to it. There is like a path that you're trying to get, and then there's like you mentioned like what HTTP version you're using. You're doing Spock High, so this is like a like variant of I don't know some other like variant. You get the point. Uh, and that like HTTP request is sent to the web server. The web servers, I will go into like detail what the web server does, but that sends something called as HTTP response. And that response looks like this on the right that you see. It tells that, yeah, your HTTP version was this. There is a status code, which literally says like what happened. Like there is 404, like, yeah, I didn't find your page. I didn't find the page that you're looking for. 200, which means like everything is fine, and it sends back the body of the text, like what to request it for also. And that is what you see on your web browser. Uh, any questions here? All right, I assume no. Uh, let's look at the URL itself in a bit more detail. So as I said, the first part of it is something called as the protocol that you want. HTTP is not the only one. There is like MQTT. There is like there are several protocols. Like this is There is HTTPS, which is HTTP secure and all of that. So like that's the protocol. And then you have the host name of whatever you have. Localhost means that it is running on your like laptop. Localhost also has like 127.0.0 like or like 000 also has the IP address. So like a localhost or any of those like numbers really mean that it's like where it is running. Then port is like the port that it is listening on. Like on your device, you can create several ports, like one for each website. So like to go to this particular website, you need to go to this number, which is usually like separated after like colon with port, and then the path that you're trying to go to. Whatever comes after the slash is the path. All clear? I'll assume everything is clear until someone like interrupts me. All right. Uh, So now let's look into the server part. So the diagram, if you remember from here, this web server can be like many things. Like it can be a unicorn server, it can be an index server or a waitress server, or like there are many different like servers. What we need to do is like we need to develop a way of talking to these servers, like, and that is usually done through a framework, right? And I'll get to what WSGI is, but like it's usually done through a framework, and it can be like Flask, Pyramid, Django, Node.js, or like any like Streamlit, Chainlit, whatever. There are like many lits that are there, and frameworks for web app development that really like talks to this server. The way the server and the framework talk is through this again agreed upon language, which is called WSGI, which really stands for Web Server Gateway Interface. It is again a common, you can just think of it like a common language between the framework and the server that you're trying to get to talk to. All right, like you don't need to really worry about like what WSGI is, but it's just to give you an idea like how Flask runs on the server side. So usually, like when we have a Flask app, this is how the structure will look like. There will be a folder in which like you'll have your Flask app. There will be like a file called app.py, which will like call all your files and everything. Like that's the main like sort of file. And there are two folders that you need to create, always with the same like sort of name. This folder structure is like irrefutable. You'll have to create a structure like this for Flask app to work. So there is one folder called static, which has like three other subfolders. Like it's one for CSS, one for images, one for JavaScript. And there's another folder called templates where you store all your HTML files. Within JavaScript, so like if you imagine your P5.js sketch, you would imagine if you had any images that would go into this image. If you had custom styling, style.css will go into like this folder. Both your Python, both your P5.js folders will go into the JS like sort of folder here, and your HTML will be in your templates. Any questions? All right, great.
No.
Great. So this is what we will be doing in this lab. The idea, okay, one more thing that I wanted to highlight is that like when we are dealing with this like dynamic website and all of that, the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript part is called the front end or client side. And the server side is usually this like Flask app or databases or whatever you do on the Flask side is called the backend or the server side. So whenever I say like front end or back end, like front end, I literally mean like the JavaScript side of the app. Back end, I mean like the Python version of the app. All right, great. Hmm, Now, okay, we are already 15 minutes in. This seems like a challenge for building like a Flask app in 1 hour. But anyway, so I'm assuming all of you have like GitHub desktop. What we'll do is like we'll start with creating a new repo here. Uh, I've created a new folder also in class. Yes, you can create wherever you want, but yeah, I have in class and the repo name will be AI4DM in class. uh, In class coding. So initialize with the README, create repository. All right. So let me publish my repository on GitHub Enterprise. I'm okay. You can do it on your regular GitHub also. You don't have to do it on GitHub Enterprise. Just like FYI, I just do it on the Georgia Tech like github.gartech.edu. Nope, don't keep it private. Publish. All right, what this did was if I go to GitHub gartech.edu and I go to like Expressive Machinery Lab. No, nope, here. There should be a new like that. This is what I just did. Like it's an empty repo, AI4DM. There's nothing in it. It's just an empty repo, and with like some weird font that I typed in. But this is what just happened, and this is why I like GitHub Desktop because it's so easier to do. Anyway, so now on your Visual Studio Code, what we need to do is go to the folder that we just created. Open folder, go to wherever the folder that you created. I know mine is here under labs AI4DM there. All right. Again, this is just like an empty folder. There is nothing in it. We'll add stuff to it, but this is already linked to GitHub. So like whatever I do like stuff here, I can just like push it to GitHub and don't worry about losing the code and like doing all of that. So the first thing that we do here is like open a new terminal, right? And make sure the terminal that you have is command prompt or like the Mac version of it and not the what do you call PowerShell? Because PowerShell is a bit weird sometimes, at least for showing what I want to show. All right, how many of us have worked with Python before? And everyone,
Question. Sorry, you
yes,
said which terminal to use and which not to use?
command prompt,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and not the PowerShell. Has anyone like built a Python, like has worked with Python before, like knows how Python works?
I've coded in Python. I couldn't tell you how Python works, though.
All right, like I mean, like so you understand like Python is like it is supremely easier than JavaScript, and like I really like that language, but it comes with its own like sort of quirks. Just if you remember when we were dealing with the P5.js, like just like a version library was like wrong and my code was not working.
Yeah.
That is a big issue in Python because the way like Python libraries work is that if I install like one library, it installs a bunch of other like dependent libraries. For example, hold on, let me show you what I really mean. So like this is what we'll get to today, but hmm, here. So these are the libraries that I manually added, like Flask, like me would what these libraries are, but like I added like only like 7 libraries, but Python went ahead and installed all of these. It installed like 90 libraries almost, and this is what Python does. So uh, to prevent like so any you can imagine like there are 90 libraries here and any one of these libraries because each and every one of these like libraries are being actively developed and they just like change every day almost. So you don't want those changes to affect your app. Like if someday, like for example, I don't even know what Jedi is, but like if Jedi decides to like go from 0.19.1 to 19.2, and they decide that the format that they have is like no longer working and they decide to have a new syntax, my app is going to go to like shit. It will stop working. Uh, so to prevent that, what we do is like we create a virtual environment. It's you can think of virtual environment as like a box where you're protecting your Python app from like any external like sort of update. And within this box, whatever version is there, it will remain and it won't like be changed even if the library updates because you've already mentioned like this is the particular library that I'm using within this box. Please don't go and like update your libraries and like mess up my app. That's the idea of virtual environment. So to create a virtual environment, what we do is like we go to the root folder. Hold on, let me pull this up here. All right. Here we go to the root folder. Like in this case, like that is like the lab in class that I have. Hmm. So I realized that within the in class, I have like AI4DM in class. So I need to like first go to that. I can just like literally drag drop that. So what I did was like change directory. CD stands for this, and I had CD stands for that, and I just like dragged the folder that I wanted, and it just went to that folder where my GitHub is. And within this, if I say clear, which is like CLS, within this, the way you do a virtual environment on Windows, because it's different for Windows and Mac, uh, is like Python -m VENV, which is like virtual environment, and then your virtual environment name. It's I usually like this is not a strict convention, but I usually like have like some dot and then like the virtual environment name, like VENV, and this is like in class. I don't know, in class H1 mile 3. I will regret like naming this like so long, but anyway. uh, so what this will do is if I run this, I will okay for Mac folks, you need to run like these two commands. Like first, if you're on a Mac, type this like pip install virtual env, and then once that like library is installed, you say this virtual env and then like whatever your virtual environment name is. All right. Uh, this will be on. I'll put this on the README here so that it's there. It's there on the what do you call the main GitHub repo also. So if you go to Access Machinery Lab, the one that I've put in the modules, and go to like AI4DM Lab, and in general notes, like I've put all of this up. For Windows, you need to do this. For Mac, you need to do this and all of that. Just read that. Anyway, so going back to the in-class one. Oh, no, wait. There. So what that did was it created this like new folder, which is literally what virtual environment is, and all my libraries and all of that will be installed in like this library, like sort of subfolder that it created. The way you activate like so from now on we will run our app within this like sort of folder. The way you do it is again I can literally just go to like virtual environment under scripts. I can drag activate bad like this and press enter also, or I can type it out manually also. For example, I'm lazy, so I'll just like drag it, forget it. You can just take my word, you can type it manually. And that is also different for Mac users. Like for Mac, you don't uh, do it that way. Yeah, you need to do this like source dot env, whatever your virtual environment name is, then /pin, then /activate. For Windows, we have like this scripts activate because it's under the scripts for us. That's the only like sort of difference. But once you have your virtual environment activated, you'll see this. Like suddenly you'll see like there is like some bracket and then a virtual environment is within that. Right? So now if you see your GitHub desktop, you'll see a bunch of like files here, which is because of the files that I just added in my virtual like desktop. Usually what we do is like we don't push our virtual environment because it's a huge like sort of file, like not right now, but it will get really huge. So what we do is like create a new folder, new file .git ignore, right? And then like literally put the name of my folder there so that it doesn't rename. Let's see. All right. What? see. Okay, there. Right. So I've asked GitHub not to push my virtual environment to GitHub because we don't push virtual environments to GitHub in any case. Though I have for you guys for the first because you're dealing with this for the first time. Anyway, all right. Now let's set up our like Flask app. If you remember from the presentation that I showed, the app needs to have like this structure. So there's a app.py, then static, then it will have like 3 subfolders, templates, and like all of that. So let's do that. So I'll create a new file here called app.py, which will be the main like sort of file. Then I'll create a new folder. Not outside. Inside. Create a new folder called static, right? And within that, there will be 3 new folders, one for JavaScript, JS, one for images, IMVS, and one for any custom creators that we want, right? And similarly, I need to create a new folder called templates. It will have my HTML file. All right. So that's like the basic like sort of setup. Now
Sorry, could you repeat all the folders that you just made? Like, what are the names of them and where did you make them?
static within okay. Yeah. So if I go to here, hold on, labs. So this is how it should look like. So you have one app.py, you have one folder called static, within which you have like 3 subfolders, CSS, images, and JavaScript. And templates is just an empty folder for now. That's where we put our HTML. Right? Okay. Now let's get started with our Flask app. But before that, uh, the way we do it again in Python is that like we have like the way you install any library in Python is like I can literally type like pip install and like install whatever library, but it is good to like keep a track of what all libraries you installed. So usually there is like a RE requirements. I do this.txt. I call it requirements like under added.txt. And here I add all the files that we require for this project. For this like sort of project, we just require 2 files, which is like 2 libraries. One is Flask, and the other one is something called as Python dot dot env. I will tell you what these like things you can guess. Flask is doing what Flask is supposed to do. Python.env I will get to, but you just need to type that in, and then you say uh, install minus r requirements requirements.txt, right? Pip install. So minus r literally means read. Pip or requirement added dot txt. Yeah, that's what I named. I press enter. It will start installing a bunch of stuff for me. What? Like one that? Install minus r requirements added. This is exactly what I have there. Txt. Anyway, what's happening? Did I create this? Anyway, okay. So what happened was like I created like requirement.txt outside this like AI4DM folder, as you can see. So it is saying like there is no requirements.txt. So I should have it inside the folder. Yes. Now if I run the same command, it will do its job. There. This takes a bit of time. Okay, this is fast. Anyway, usually it takes a bit of time, but it's fast for us. So great. So now we have Flask installed on our laptops, and we can get started with writing the actual like Python code. And it's already 10. And everyone is caught up and like is following. All good so far? Great. Uh, all right. Now, the way again, like we first need to, I will type and I might be a bit fast. You can copy all of this code from the GitHub like repo that I posted earlier. So the first thing that we do is like we say in app.py from Flask import Flask, right? And let's just keep that for that line for now. And then we say app equal to Flask underscore name underscore. I say template underscore folder. Like basically I'm saying this is the folder where you need to look for all the templates. There is a static folder where I say this is the place where you need to look for a static like sort of thing, and then I say there's a static URL. By the way, like I'm just showing you how to build the app. I've already built the app for you guys, so you literally have to like replace my files with your files, then it will work. Just FYI, but I'm still like going through what like building the app like really looks like. All right, that's the first like lines. I'm literally saying that like create a Flask app whenever there is like this whatever the name like folder is. Oh, I misspelled template. This is the template folder where you need to look for your HTML templates. This is the static like folder where you need to look for your static files, and like this is the HTML static URL path that you have, right? And the first like the way that we do in Flask is that you have app.route and then you specify whatever path that you want to create. You will understand what I mean. Just a second. This is like the default path that I have, and within that you define like what the path function is. Index, for example, because this is the index like sort of page, and I will return apparently I can't spell return today. Return. All right. So assume that I have this. So what this is doing, okay, and I need to run the app also. And if underscore name underscore equal to main underscore, I will say app dot run host is my 0.0. So I'm basically saying run it on my like sort of laptop. This is your host. Whenever like the name of the app is like the main app, just like run it on my laptop. And the way you run a Flask app is like in your terminal, you just say Flask run, right? It gives this URL. You can just like go to that. There. This is what I type. Well, all right. Any questions so far?
Is that embedded in HTML somehow, or is that just a raw output?
It is just a raw output. I will
Okay.
show how to like put it into an HTML. Like right now, it is just literally text.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. All right.
So you're getting text back from the server through the
Yes.
web browser.
So what this meant, like this, if I change this to like, for example, /home, right? And I have to close this test because, okay, every time I make a change, because I haven't set like certain environmental variables, I'll have to like close the server and like restart it again, which is a royal pain, and I will show how to fix it, but like just bear with me for a minute. So I go here now. And it will say 404 not found. Why? Because like I don't have this anymore. I have home there. So that is what I was controlling when I said app.route. So you need to specify like what route you have and then going to that sort of page. But anyway, let's fix like both of these issues at the same like sort of time. First, I don't want to like set I don't want to close the app every time I make a change. I want it to like just update on its own. And I don't want it to run on like 5,000 because I might have like multiple apps running. Now, the way we do it is like we need to, and eventually also like moving forward in with your like assignments, you'll have like API keys that is private and you don't share it with public generally. And you don't want to like in the because we're pushing all of this to GitHub, you don't want to like say here like API key and just give your private key because that way anyone can use your key and like misuse your account and charge your account for like whatever they are building. So usually you hide all of this with uh, environment like sort of variables. And for that, we installed this library, if you remember, the python.env. What this lets you do is like it lets you create a new file called .env, right? And you can initialize your environmental variables within that. Uh, I won't like type those, but here, hold on. I'll just copy it from like my already typed version. But you guys will have to type it. Or if you go to the GitHub repo, I've set like these. Oh man, I have so many. That's why I needed like 3 monitors.
Well, doing this virtually though, you could just like this is easier,
Yeah,
right?
it is easier. I can't imagine how I'll do this in like in person.
Could you
Uh,
paste what you just copied into the chat?
Oh, that's a good
yes, I
idea.
will just yeah, I'll just do that. Uh, yeah. So in general, also if you go to like Lab-3 here, I have like so I say like because I don't push the environmental variable to the GitHub, I say you need to create so every time you're running this, you need to create .env file and set these like environmental variables on your .env file. All right. Going back to yes. So what I'm saying is that like Flask app is like this app that is the name of your like the app.py. It's if you have app.py, you don't really need to mention what the Flask app is. But if you have like some other like fancy name, hello or like whatever, then you like specify what your app is. Then I specify like on what port to run it, and then I say debug mode to true. What debug mode true does is that like I don't have to like turn off my server and like restart it every time I make a minute change. Now after that in git ignore, I need to also add like don't push my env file to GitHub because that is like private. All right. With that said, now if I say last run, oh, no, 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 hold on, hold on. So I've set this environmental variable, but like my app doesn't know that I have set these variables, right? Uh, so for doing that, you need to add like one more line of code in your app.py. First is that you need to import from .env import load underscore dot env. This is like a file. This is like a function within .env that lets you do what I'm trying to do. Is that like say read your environmental variables from this file. And at the very beginning of your like Python app, you just say load underscore dot env. Right? That's about it. So what this tells my Flask app is that like before you run whatever you have to run, go to this like .env file, set all of these environmental variables, then run the Flask app. Now, if I say Flask run, So you will see that the debugger is activated and like the port has been switched to 8000 because that's what I mentioned. And now if I go to this like website, it's finally. So now if I say hello to, I don't know, so, and just save it, and then I go to the same like sort of website that I had up earlier, it will now say, yo, I didn't have to restart my server. All right, hope all of that is clear. Now, but like the thing is, we do not want to like just render like random text. We want to render HTML files. For that, if you, I'll, okay. E5, I don't know why my laptop is running so slow. E5, but yes. To web editor, where I'll go to my sketches. So you can download these two like sort of examples that I had. For example, this was what milestone one. Okay, it will do. Just like download milestone one. Great. And I'll just share this with you guys also so that you can also download. You can use your like milestone one also. But if you're following along, you can use mine as well. Wow, I don't know if my laptop is running super slow. Like, uh,
Yeah,
there.
you actually cut out a tiny bit for me.
Oh well, just hope that.
Maybe turn your video off. I don't know. Or
Yeah, I think
close
that's yeah. That
close some
should be
tabs.
that I can't do, but I can turn my video off for sure. So I just downloaded that file. I've pasted the link for you guys in the chat if you don't want to download like my example, or you can use your own like sort of file. So that should be in downloads in like wherever you've downloaded it. AI4DM labs in class. All right. Let me extract these like sort of file. Extract all. Extract. So it's a zip file and it is getting extracted. Great. So now I can go back to my VS here I had, and it will show this folder also. So I need to put, so as I said, all of the JavaScript files go into the JavaScript folder. Oh my God, like it's super damn slow. All right, I'm waiting for the file to get copied into the other folder. Maybe if I stop screen sharing for a bit and like reshare, it might work. Just a second. Ah, all right.
Uh-oh, did we lose Manoj?
I think he's still on the
Yeah.
call. I see
Maybe he's
his.
just resharing his
I'm-
screen, I think.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. It's just
Do you need to reboot? Manoj, do you need to reboot? Whoop, that might be a yes. Yep, he's off. All right. Well, anyone who needs to use the restroom, now's a good time for a 1 minute bio break. While Manoj is getting back online, but I don't feel like I can just pick up where he left off. So, oh, there we go. You're on your phone. We can't hear you because you're muted, but you're telling us that you're rebooting your computer. You're rebooting your computer, right? Yeah, yeah. That's why I was telling everybody.
It is I'm on my phone now, so you'll
Yeah.
have to wait.
I was just telling people if they needed to run to the bathroom, that was a good time.
Yeah,
But you're rebooting your computer and then Teams and then getting everything up and then sharing your screen.
yes.
Let me go
Uh,
over Canvas while we have a pause. All right, where's the syllabus? Great. Okay. So, we are very quickly going to be moving into not as much reading. So you guys know. I'm looking at the schedule. Oh, you updated it already, Manoj. Good job. All right. Wow. Okay. So, we have the extended deadline for homework one. And I just wanted to point out to you guys on October 2nd, you guys will have 5 minute tops presentations. Wait, yes. Okay. We should be able to do this with this class size. Might be 4 minute presentations, but so just, Manoj, we included the video requirement for the homework, right?
yes.
Yeah. So you can rely heavily on that. If you want to have some minimal slides, that's fine. But really just the point is to talk about the journey that you went on. So what did you consider first? What worked, what didn't work? What what did you learn from your data cleaning and data collection process? Um, to the just a demo of the final experience and we'll make we'll just make sure that like I'm not sure it's 5 minutes. 20, gosh, 120. Yeah, that's that. If we're super efficient, we can maybe do 5 minutes per presentation, but otherwise it'll probably be four. I'm gonna go ahead and just edit this now. 4 minute presentations. Great. Now I feel far more confident. Um, yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that was the heads up for you. And for folks who are having um trouble generating the project ideas, um don't worry really about that. Like we said, like these first two projects are really just about getting your hands dirty. We're not super concerned about like the idea and the ex well execution of the idea maybe, but like if it's not the best idea, that's okay. If it's something you just do and then throw away, that's okay. The third project we actually review up front methodologies for ideation and for kind of more methodically coming up with your project ideas. And so we'll be reviewing in a little less than a month, I think. Let me look here. Oh, a little more than a month and 3 days. But next month we'll be going over after homework two, we'll be going over for the final project that you guys will be working on the rest of the term on introducing you guys to about half a dozen methods, and you're going to pick one of those methods and apply that and sort of more include the conceptualization of the project as part of the timeline for the homework, rather than just saying just do something. So just if you guys have experienced, like, you know, any struggle coming up with ideas for like how to use these models and what to use them for, that will be part of what we do in the class moving forward. It's just it's a very bit a chicken and the egg thing, and we've decided that the technical content is more important than the methodology content in terms of ordering. So, but no, it looks like you're sharing in a healthy manner.
Yeah, I'm thankfully back again.
Great. All right. Well,
Yeah,
I'll quit talking. Does anybody have any questions about what I just said before we pass it back off to Manoj? Cool. Looks like we're still recording, so we're good to go.
all right. Yeah, sorry about that crash. So what we were trying to do is like copy a bunch of files from like one folder to the other. So in JavaScript, like copy all your JavaScript files. In CSS, like put your CSS. Uh, in templates, put your index.html for now. So you basically, if we look at our, what do you call it? Flask app, this is how it looks like. We have a bunch of JavaScript files, which we have already written. We have style.css if we did have any style. And in template, we have index.html, right? Now going back to app, this time I will keep my video off so that like it doesn't crash again. And before I start coding. All right, here. Now what we need what we need to do is like call in another like sort of function in Flask called render template. What this will do is help us render the HTML file that we have. So in index here, instead of calling some random like sort of thing, I can say return render underscore template, right? And then I pass in the template name, which in this case is index.html. All right, let's just pass index.html, and then I can show you why we should be doing that. But anyway, index.html, right? Oh man, okay, my terminal is also, I need to create a new terminal. Yeah, you guys will have your terminals activated, so you don't need to do what I'm doing right now, but it's just because my thing crashed entirely. All right. So now, within the virtual environment, if I say flask.run and go to the website, since now we are rendering the HTML page, it should technically render the HTML page. Well, what's happening? The app not running again. Oh, I see what's happening. So, all right. I just downloaded a bunch of files and I just like put it into a bunch of folders, but I forgot to change the path. And the error that you see here is it's saying that I didn't find the style.css, I didn't find the sketch.css. So the app is freaking out. It is basically saying, I don't know what you're talking about. And you
It's
can see
looking in
that
just the root directory, right?
yeah, you
Yeah.
can see that even here, if we go to inspect, it will give me a bunch of errors like failed to load the resources. That is what my server is also saying. All right. So the way to fix that is I need to go into like these folders in index.html. And instead of just saying style.css, I need to say you need to look at inside the CSS folder. So I say CSS/style. Even here, instead of just like sketch, I need to look into like JavaScript folder, and inside that you'll find sketch. All of these are fine because those are all like CDNs. Those are the only two links, I think. Yeah. So now if I save it, for whatever reason, my app is not like restarting. Did it crash again? Wait, this. Am I disconnected again? Can you guys hear me?
It worked on my end after that fix. So
Oh yeah,
Manoj,
it
are you
should.
okay? Are you here?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh no, we can't hear you
Yeah.
at all.
All right. So okay, that should work. I mean, it's just that my
it's
laptop is
because you
running
have
super
you
slow.
you typed out JS instead of JavaScript.
Oh no, I have that's the folder
Oh,
name.
that's what you have. Oh, never
Yeah,
mind.
yeah,
Okay.
JS. Yeah, it's it's great. It's great. All right, let me see if doing that again does the trick. Anyway, all right. Let's see if it is rendering the file that it is supposed to now. Please do it. Yeah, all right. There.
Hey,
Yes.
running stuff through web servers, it's almost like it's just a dodgy proposition.
But once you have the process set up, then it's like super easy. That's what I said. Like, so okay. Now, because we have like 15 minutes, I won't like do live coding because there are a bunch of other like stuff that I need to cover. Or I should do like a bit of live coding. But okay, I don't know how to go about this in like next 15 minutes. Okay, I won't do live coding. Now, no, actually forget it. I will do one last live coding and then I will show you the code base. Now within this like sort of Flask environment, since now I have decided what I have to do and I'm not confused anymore, uh, because we want to have like multiple routes, right? It's not just like we have like one milestone, one like sort of HTML. We need to display like an about page. We need to have a milestone one page. We need to have a milestone two page. And copying and like redoing this over and over again doesn't make sense. Like it just like doesn't make sense for me to have like the same HTML template over and over again. And if you saw the website, it looks horrible. I mean, there's no styling, there is nothing to it, and it looks like terrible right now. So we need to add like style and all of that also. So for doing that, what we can do is use something called as template like language. And Flask uses something called as Jenga. And if you go to extensions, if you just like go to extensions here and type like Jenga, like Genga, it's Jinja, but like Jenga, we will call it Jenga. So, and the first app that you see here, the extension that you see here, make sure you have it installed so that your VS Code understands that you're writing like Jenga code and not HTML or Python or JavaScript or any of those. All right. Go to extensions, download Jenga so that you have it in your interpreter. Now, the way you use it is okay, this is what is called as templates. Like you set up a template and you use that template over and over again, and you only like change a new like sort of thing within that template so that it's easier to manage like these like usually websites. So for that, what we usually do is create something called as a new file inside your templates called base.html. It should be the base HTML where you've set up all the style, where everything like looks nice. And in the rest of it, all you're trying to do is like, what do you call, do whatever like new thing is there in that. And for copying like stuff for base.html, since I want, what do you call, Bootstrap into my app. So you go to the Bootstrap website, go to docs. They have this quick start CSS and JavaScript like sort of code. Just copy all of this right? And paste it inside your base.html. Okay, now you have Bootstrap in your app. We're not using Bootstrap as of now, but we have Bootstrap in our app. It comes with this hello world and all of that nonsense, which we don't really need, but you get the idea. Like we can remove that. Yeah, that. Right. Now on to like the Jenga part. Generally how you write like Jenga like sort of code is like use this like curly braces and put percent inside and just say this is a block uh, block and I give the name of that block, which is the content block, right? And then I say end end block, right? So I have like this base setup and I have like content and end block, right? Now within my, for example, index.html, I don't need any of this. Oh no, hold on. In the base, I need to also have these libraries so that I don't have to import this over and over again, which is like, hold on, I'll copy all of this in the head and put that back into my base. Right. Looks fine. So I basically imported like p5.js, whatever that was, and ML5 in my base HTML, right? And then there's a custom CSS file that I'm also linking. And let me change the title there. Where's title? Oh, let me move this title back up here and change it to whatever your app name is. Like here's AI4DM. One or so on and so forth, right? All right. So now in my index.html, what I really need to do is remove everything. I'm like body to scripts because we have all of it. Oh, I don't have script. Hold on, I don't have script. Or let's keep the script there. Let's just keep the script. Yeah. So I've removed all the code except just this because this is what is new in this page and the rest of it is there in here. And all you have to do at the beginning is say percent extends base.html, right? And this is the block content that I had. And at the end, I say end block. So basically what I'm trying to say is that get all the code from here, just replace like whatever was here with this code. That's it. So now if I have like multiple pages, I don't have to go and like manually change the style and like libraries and all of that in each and every page. But I have like one place where I need to make like those changes and it is replicated in all the like sort of what do you call it? Pages. So for example, now to include let's say Bootstrap in this, I can, the way I've done it in the other code, I'll just copy that code here. Like I don't have time to like show you what I did there. So I'll just copy that entire code here. So in Bootstrap, the way it works is that like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Bootstrap, is that like there is a container class. And within, hold on, right here, grids. So there's usually a container class, and within that container class, you have rows for which like how many columns that you want, and then within that you have like number of columns that you want to specify. For the max number of columns is 12, and within that is your content. Just go through the Bootstrap website. It's very easy to use. They will literally give you like codes of how to like make this column. They'll give you codes for how to make this everything. I just like one of these examples is what I copied there. Uh, so if you see the code, like there's a container class, BR stands for break. and then there's a row where I am creating text alert for the messages that you were seeing. Here, like the model loaded or not loaded and so on and so forth is in this class. And I have another row for my canvas. All right. The only thing that I need to make a change in my JavaScript folder, JavaScript file is I'll say let C is equal to this canvas, and then I am assigning C parent to canvas div that I just created. There is the next one. Static JavaScript. What did I call it? Canvas div. Yes, canvas div. This is what I call it. And say, all right, there. So I'm saying essentially that this is your parent, like this empty div that you had, put your the canvas, the JavaScript canvas that I had inside between these two divs here. That's what I did in the JavaScript code. That's the only change that you need to do on your JavaScript side in any case. Let C equal to create canvas and assign that canvas to this sort of empty parent. So when I do this and I go back to my website, it should look a lot better. Oh, damn. It should look a lot better. I misspelled something. Of course I did.
So Manoj, if I might suggest, if you need to run a few minutes over, that you do so, and anyone who
Alright.
needs to go ahead and go. We're recording this so
So
people
yeah, you can
can
watch it.
watch the remaining few minutes of this that they need to. Just please post a link to the recording afterwards.
The recording will be in the chat, right here. So everyone should be able to see the recording as soon as Brian hits the stop record button.
Yeah,
right
but
here in the
even
chat.
for people who like, if there's somebody sick that didn't come today or something,
Okay,
you know what I
okay.
mean? Just
Yeah,
send it
yeah.
out. Yeah.
All right. So I typed in extend instead of extends. That's why you saw a fancy error. Just put the S there instead of extend. And since we are running the development server, I can just restart this. Now what is the issue? Unexpected. Where is this happening? In base.html. Okay. Did I forget the of course. I forgot the percent sign. Now it should work. Third time is the charm. Now what is the issue? Unexpected syntax error. Even okay, I have forgotten the percent sign everywhere. So let me just check once more. Okay, here block content. I have forgotten to put the percent here. Which means I might have forgotten to put a percent. Oh, I have put the percent properly here because I copied this code. It was just in the index.html. All the percents are there, index object. Alright, I've saved this file. Fourth time is the charm. Please run, for God's sake. There. Yes. So now instead of just having some weird ass canvas, there's some error with canvas also control. Oh, everything is working well. Okay, there. Oh, okay. Okay. I see what's up. So in my previous example, I have renamed the sketch that I had to sketch underscore M1 to make it clear that this is milestone 1 because I had both the milestone. So what we can do is rename this file to sketch underscore M1 because it wasn't finding the JavaScript folder. Right? Now if I run, everything should work. There, finally, oh God. Yeah, here. This is the alert that I just added. This is the canvas that we have been using and everything works. Now for the remainder of the 5 minutes and or a bit more than that, I won't show you exactly, I won't code, but I will walk you through the folder that I have in the GitHub sort of link. If you go to, hold on, I'll just show you where it is. If you go to GitHub, okay. By the way, let me push all of this also. Basic app, commit to main. Notification. Alright, so if you go to Expressive Machinery Lab, like the GitHub repo, you will find all the code that I did in class here in this repo. I recommend that you don't like do this unless you want to refer to exactly what we did in class. Go to this repo, which is like the fully finished like version. In that, if you go to milestone 3, you can download this, or you can like pull it from your GitHub desktop, and it will have you'll have this on your like sort of computer. In there, as I said before, just go to the JavaScript here and replace this sketch with your like sort of sketch, and make sure that in this sketch you have that like C here, like let C equal to create canvas and C is the parent. That is the only change that you need to do in JavaScript, and it will work. But generally, what I did in this like sort of app, is this the right app? This is the right app. So in the app.folder, folder, instead of just having like one route, like I did in the like class today, I've added 3. One for the about page. So if you go to this, there will be an about page. One for the milestone. One for milestone 2. All right. Let me run this app also so that it is. See, yeah, it's fine. Terminal, new terminal. Milestone. Right. Go to CD here. Then
I'm gonna go ahead and stick around until 11, just or until you're done, Manoj.
yes.
Whichever's first. Yeah, anybody who needs to get going to their next class, we're about out of time, but we'll keep recording this until Manoj is done.
Yes, thank you so much. All right, so I'm just showing you what this app looks like, the one that I have in the other repo. So this is what that like repo looks like, in which like I have like a nav bar attached at the top, which will take you to like different milestones. Again, you'll have to replace these milestones with the ones that you have and change the content of this about to whatever content you have, right? So for doing from getting to where we were to this like sort of stage, again, we need to add like 3 routes, one for milestone 1, one for milestone 2, and similarly. The stuff that you see here right after the HTML is a variable that I'm passing to my what do you call HTML file. I wanted to cover this, but like there was no time. So what really happens, like I was showing you how like Jenga helps me create this like templates. That base.template has like some code that I can replicate in all the other HTML files. In about, I just literally like have the start block and end block and put the content of that page instead of worrying about all the headers and like footers. Along with all of this, what Jenga does is that it gives me the ability to access variables that I pass from my app.py. For example, here I say active equal to like interaction1, which is like the name of this function, active equal to index, which is the name of this like function, and active equal to interaction2, which is like the name of this function. And I use that in my navigation bar. So if you go to like about with base in this like repo, in href, again, this is like the Jenga like sort of way of doing it. I say first, like I'm saying that this is like URL for index1, like nav bars have to be first linked to like these pages, like href needs to be linked to like these HTML pages. So this is for index1. Basically, what will happen when I'm loading this page is it will just like load this page. It will say that when I click on index, it will call the index function, which is there in my app.py. It will go to this index function and render this about.html. Similarly, if I click on something else, like if I click on the milestone 1, it will call the interaction 1 function, which is there in my app.py, which will render my milestone 1 HTML, so on and so forth. Now, within the base app, the active that I passed, that I was trying to show here, like active equal to interaction, what this does is it lets me show what the active tab is. In the app, if I click on milestone 1 on the navigation bar, you can see that there's a underline and there's a bold on milestone. When I click on update about, it shows me that I'm on about page. This is what I'm trying to do with active there, in which I literally say this is what is active. And in base, I have this like if condition in which I say if you are active, assign active tag in HTML, otherwise just don't. So we can do all of these like sort of stuff also with Jenga. Like you can write if and for also in Jenga templates, and it becomes super easy for you to like pass on variables from the server side to the HTML side. But yeah, that's about it. I think I've shown everything that I have to. This is just navbar. You don't need to like worry about how navbar works, but coming from Bootstrap and all of that, like I have set this thing up. As I said, you just have to replace your milestone 1 with your like milestones, and similarly milestone 2. And here you need to replace like these two folders, like these two files with what you had, and your app will work. All right, that's about it.
Any questions about the last hour and a half?
This is all on the GitHub, yeah.
Yeah, this is all on the GitHub.
Okay.
So, yeah, the link is on Canvas. You can just access it. You don't have to know how to create it. I just like walked you guys through so that you are familiar
Yeah.
with what the code is. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So where can we find the link to the GitHub stuff?
It's on Canvas. If you go to Canvas, all right. I haven't logged into my Buzzboard. Hold on, I'm sharing my screen again here.
I think I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a new module that I created so that there is no confusion. So the module
module is called assignment 1, H1 and
H1
labs.
and labs. Right? Yeah. So this is like Lab-3 GitHub link is what you need to click and you'll get the course.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
All right. I'm heading off. Thanks, Manoj, for walking us through this. I'm interested to see how many folks implement this for homework 1.
Let's see.
Yeah. We might need to maybe take a half a class to review sort of this for homework 2, just to kind of check in on where people are at with it. But,
right.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
See everyone on
See you guys.
Monday.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Cheers.